Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers, and we thought an opportune time to have a chat to our Chief Executive, Shane Richardson. Of course, the NRL and NRLW draws have been released for 2025, and some really exciting news in there from our point of view as a club. Richo, thanks for joining us. We'll chat through the draws in a moment. I just thought we'd talk about a couple of other things before we dive into that. So the boys been in pre-season for a few weeks now.
Yes.
How's it all shaping up?
No, really, really good. I mean, their levels are so much better than they were last year. That doesn't mean anything, though, when you come to winning games, but it's certainly a good start. The new players have come in really well and set really good standards and really positive. The young players have really dug in and enormous difference in some of their body shapes and the way they are. And people like Matamura and the like, they look $1 million, and Pole and etc. So it's they're in a really good frame of mind and they're really looking good.
I see there's a handful of players that have actually come back a week or two or even 3 weeks ahead of schedule when they didn't have to. That's got to be encouraging.
Yeah, it is. And they wanted to. I mean, Galvin's an example of that. He could have had several weeks off. He was back first day and winning everything.
Probably bored at home, was he?
Yeah. And all the new young players we brought into our second tier, have done a great job in the preseason so far. And look, there's nothing but a positivity around the camp about where we are. And the new senior players have arrived fit and well. And Luai was in yesterday and wandering around the ground and just getting a feel. So he's excited. So there's a great feel in the camp and positively. Our medicals are really good. People have come back. Olam looks strong. Dewey's improved. So it's a very positive vibe.
It seems to be a really positive vibe all around the club with the members and fans alike in terms of the calibre of players that will be assembled for next season. You've touched on some of the existing players, but the new players coming along. Last week, the announcement of Terrell May, I think that surprised a lot of people and pleasantly surprised them, I might add.
Yeah, like all our recruitment, as I've said from the beginning, we don't trumpet it. We're not in the papers talking about what we're going to do, or otherwise we try and work behind the scenes and work with the players and talk to them directly, and Benji and I. And I think it's really important that, this season we only made offers to 8 players. 6 we signed. So the other 2 we had agreed to terms, Horsburgh and Hetherington. But unfortunately their clubs decided to pull their opportunity to be able to deal with us. So that's what happened in both those cases. But, that one drops out, another drops in. We didn't sign Hetherington, but we signed Terrell May. So we're really comfortable and happy about and the reshaping of the club. We reshaped the club with speed and size and the outside backs. A lot of toughness in the middle. Defenders, we've got to defend better than we did last year, and we've always had a great spine. So, and of course, a pretty special player in Luai. So, we're in a really good space.
Looking good. Now, I understand you're happy to give our listeners, our viewers here of the official podcast, a bit of a scoop on another player signing. Are we ready for that?
Well, Sione Faina's back training with us, which is really good, and he's signed a train and trial contract, but that'll be converted hopefully later on. And we've agreed to terms and extended Pole for 2 more years after this year, after next year. So he's signed for 26 and 27, which is we had a lot of challenges from Melbourne and a few clubs on that one. So we're really pleased to be able to pull that one off, and he's got a great future ahead of him.
Well, great news. Well, there you have it. There is a scoop for Nuapole. I know he's a fan favourite. He played his junior footy in Melbourne, but he's so resilient.
Yeah, and we've decided to sit down and talk with Safarth after Christmas, which he's really happy about extending himself. And obviously, we're working closely with Galv and his family and his agent about extending him in the new year. So we'll work through that as the year goes on.
Still plenty to do then, eh?
Yeah, I've
Plenty to keep you busy.
There's always plenty to do. You've just got
Yep.
to keep reshaping that salary cap, and it's not fantasy football. You've got to actually fit everybody in.
You talk about Alex Seyfarth, and he's another one of those players that actually did come back to pre-season earlier than he had to. So that's good news. We'll get to the draw in just a tick. In terms of sponsorship, Richo, there's been some good news as well. This week, Palmer, the Concord-based development and construction company, they have elevated their deal from the shorts. They're now going to be on the sternum. Yeah,
and we've got a couple of really exciting ones coming. The reality is, from all the drama that went on at the start of the year, we're going to lose this, we're going to do that. We're significantly better off financially, and we've significantly increased our sponsorship already before the season even starts and before the draw was even done, which obviously was done today. So we're in a really good place. And if anybody wants on corporate hospitality, when you look at the draw, they want to jump in quickly, because I'm not sure, particularly at Leichhardt and at Campbelltown, I'm not sure it won't be sold out immediately.
I reckon there's going to be quite a few sellouts. Obviously, it hinges a lot on the performance of the team, but in terms of the draw, I read that it's probably one of the best draws you've seen in your 3 decades? Or 4 decades? What are we now?
That's not good too far. 32 years. I'm usually ringing up the NRL, but we put a lot of time and effort in working with the NRL in the off-season to make sure we got a more user-friendly draw. You can't always get the play, but certainly in the grounds, that we've got the grounds for what we wanted. When we did the Leichhardt deal, where the NRL supported us with how we scheduled that, which we'll talk about in the draw. Obviously Campbelltown with the new improvements, we've had to go to Campbelltown early there in case the requirements of the changes they'll need to do to the ground, and we wanted to get blockbusters played at venues New South Wales, and we've certainly got those. So I couldn't be happier from a commercial point of view, but more importantly from a player point of view. 1 5-day turnaround only. Yeah. We're in a really good space as far as football goes, and so there's no excuses.
A lot goes into it, and particularly when you are a club that utilises multiple venues, right? It becomes even more complex, I guess, and it's about fitting the right game at the right place and the right time. So the season kicks off at Campbelltown. West Tigers will play 4 home games in 2025 at Campbelltown Sports Stadium, the first of which is against Newcastle Knights, and that's when our season kicks off Friday, the 7th of March.
Yeah, it's a blockbuster. I mean, it's a 6 o'clock. I think it's a 6 o'clock on a Friday night, which is not ideal. But we had 6 o'clock Friday night last year against Parramatta and sold out. So I mean, it's going to be a fantastic game. You're going to see in that game dramatically the new presentation of our game day with new announcers and just a whole new look, which will be exciting in itself. But more importantly, it's a really important game to start off really well. And get a win on the board to start the season off in front of our home crowd. So it's a great opportunity for Campbelltown to come out and support us, and I'm sure they will. We'll talk about a couple of things, and I'll just rattle through. So 4 games at Campbelltown. They'll be the Knights, the Warriors, the Rabbitohs and the Raiders. 3 games then at Leichhardt Oval, so against the Sharks, the Titans and the Cowboys. Titans and Cowboys are a bit later on in the year, and they'll be NRLW double headers, which is great. At CommBank, so we've got the 3 games at CommBank. First up against the Eels, then we've got the Panthers, then we've got the Dogs. They are 3 blockbuster games. Now, there was one other game that potentially was going to be played at CommBank, but that has now gone to an alternate venues, New South Wales venue in Allianz Stadium, the most modern and newest stadium on the planet. That's going to be part of an Indigenous extravaganza where we'll play Manly Sea Eagles. That's going to be a special weekend in itself, Richo. Yeah, it is. I mean, South, East and ourselves have got the home games. One plays Friday night, one plays Saturday night, and we play Sunday, 2 o'clock, home game on Sunday. By the way, we've got 8 home games on Sunday, which is one of the things we drove hard to get for fans. Including 3 daylight games at Leichhardt and a trial game at Leichhardt, which will be a blockbuster and probably a sellout against Parramatta, and the last trial for the season, which is Penrith and I think Manly or the Curtin Raiser. Anyway, yep. It's a blockbuster game. It's our game, our home game at Leichhardt for a trial. And then we've got 3 day games at Leichhardt, including the Anzac weekend, which will be massive for crowds, etc. Campbelltown, we managed to take South Sydney out there, and another quality Newcastle. We opened the season out there. We're looking to really go big out at Campbelltown again this year, like we did last year with massive sellouts. But importantly, from a sponsor's and my point of view, and from a fan's point of view, I know a lot of fans were only happy about going to Campbelltown Stadium, but we had to make a choice for them. But when we made the choice, we made a decision that we would go there to take blockbusters there, the games that we felt that would be in excess of the stadiums that we could have played at.
Yep.
So, last year we sold out, Parramatta sold out us on Monday, Easter Monday. This year we get Easter Monday, and we think we can get 28,000 there for Easter Monday. Sell out. We play Penrith home and away there. It's their new ground for Penrith, so it's not really their or our home ground in that sense. So that's a real blockbuster to play the premiers there, or 4 times premiers there. The Dogs, which will be massive, played out of, and it's a quality ground. People can say what they like, but your seating and the way you were going to be presented is going to be magnificent. But also, importantly, for our sponsors, and we've got some really key upmark and upgraded sponsors this year. It's going to be massive for them to be able to sell more than the 500 to 600 seats we've got at Leica. We can sell 1,000 to 1,500 out there. So, and the experience is massive. And then on top of that, the 4 games we took there were all about getting the quality big blockbusters. And then we had the opportunity to buy into this Indigenous round weekend at Allianz. Great ground, Allianz Stadium. We took it. It's a great opportunity for us. We play Manly there. They're not noted for their travelling, but we have a guarantee fee, and our fans will love it because they'll pack it out on a Sunday afternoon in bright sunshine. So that's a great opportunity for us. And the one other game is Brisbane, and we made a point about Brisbane and not playing on bloody Monday night, so our fans can get up there and have a good weekend.
Yep.
So we've got the blockbuster on Saturday night, which is live on Channel 9 and Fox, and our fans can travel up and really enjoy it. And we've got lots of packages for them to go up and see it. So it's a really user-friendly draw with 8 Sunday games, quality games at Leichhardt, quality games at Campbelltown, and more importantly, the ones we utilised at Events New South Wales are blockbusters.
You talk about Campbelltown Stadium, and it is it's a wonderful venue. I love going there, right? Allianz equally so. The games that you have identified and are taking there, can you just imagine that they could well all be sellouts? And if you look at last season, the game we played Parramatta there,
Sellout.
It
was a sellout, and it was a sellout corporately.
West Tigers
They did
fans turned up in the
1,500
droves.
people corporately, and they did sell at 28,000. So there's no reason we can't do the same on our game on Monday.
You talk about sponsors and the value for money they get, particularly when they get more eyeballs on their branding. So we've got more free-to-air games too on Channel 9, which I know you're pleased with.
We've always been sort of the poor man put in the background, but we were up front on Channel 9 this year, which is great for our sponsors. And great for our members and fans, and so that's a huge statement about where we are as a club, and I think or where we're going to be, more importantly, and I've got to say that the NRL have been very supportive in of us along those ways. So with Leichhardt and a whole range of different things with Campbelltown as well. So we're in a really good space going forward, and it's exciting.
You talk about the Sundays, Richo, and you mentioned it a couple of times. So 8 of the 12 home games are on a Sunday, and 13 of the 24 games over the whole season are on a Sunday.
Correct.
Very family friendly.
Yep.
Was that a conscious decision the club made?
I think all clubs want to do that, but we certainly pushed it to drive that, particularly at Leichhardt, and that's yeah. But it is, and it's quite amazing. We've got no Thursday night games, which is hugely user friendly for the fans. Our Friday night games are the blockbuster start of the first game, but Saturday night in Brisbane is a really positive for us, and otherwise, so it's a very good draw for us, and it's a good draw for the football team too.
Well, you talk about them, so you've touched on it too. Just the 1 5-day turnaround, and I think we had 3, maybe even 4 5-day turnarounds last year. That extra day or two makes such a difference, doesn't it?
It does, and the other thing we never really had to worry about in the past is that we get we're not affected by the state of origin in 2 of our games because we've got buys over that period. So I don't know who will make the state of origin, but I think there might be a little number 7 that we've got that might make it. So if we miss him at all, we'll only miss him for the 3rd game.
Could well. Magic round, so you've touched on that. Going there as a home game again. We'll be playing the Warriors, so a trip to Auckland again, and another trip to Townsville. So a fair bit of travel involved. Yeah,
but it's spaced. So it's not short turnaround stuff, and so it's spaced, and so we can manage it. Even with Auckland, if players are picked in that 3rd origin, they can still. It's a Sunday, so they can recover, travel, recover, and play. So it's user friendly, and Auckland. I've been to Auckland a lot of times, and it's a great stadium, great atmosphere, and we play them twice, home and away. I mean, that'll be a massive thing too when we play them out at Campbelltown. Like people going about, but I mean, the reality is there's a reasonable amount of New Zealanders living out of New Zealand backgrounds out there, so we expect a huge crowd. We need our own supporters to get out there to match the Warriors fans.
We touched on that too. We've got the Pacifica Youth Summit.
Yeah, we have.
At Campbelltown
we're doing
in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
Richo, thanks for jumping in. I know you're juggling 1,000 things.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a quick chat with you. But it's exciting times. I know you've still got a fair bit of work to get on with. One jungle, no limits. That's the new catch cry. And although you're playing at 3 or 4 different stadiums, it is part of one jungle, and there will be one feel at home games.
It is, and that's why membership's so important. So now you've got the draw. There's no excuses not to jump in.
So there is the draw. First game for the NRL team, Friday the 7th of March against Newcastle Knights at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. And I will say also the first game for our NRLW team, their round 1 game, that's Saturday 5th of July against the Broncos in Brisbane. So
and I think we've got 4 double headers, haven't we?
One thing we didn't touch on, 4 double headers, so we had none last season.
Yeah, we've got 4 double headers at 2 at Leichhardt, I think, 1 at Campbellton and 1 at Allianz. So 4 home game double headers. So it's great I saw the Noddy this morning. He's really excited about it because it gives a great crowd, atmosphere, and feels part of the club.
Well, it's crazy to think there were none last season, right?
Don't start me on that. But anyway,
it's
one of the things we pushed this year, so it's pretty exciting.
Richo, thanks for your time. It's all looking good. Again, if you haven't yet joined as a member, get onto it. More information will come out about the preseason challenge. That game, it's a double header at Leichhardt in the preseason. That will sell out, so there will be priority access for West Tigers members for that. You know the deal. Jump online, get yourself a membership. One jungle, no limits. Get ready to roar.
Go to Tigers.
Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers.